Hi, this is Steve with OS Nexus, and we're going to do a quick video on setting up remote replication with QuantaStor. To begin with, we need to set up what's called a storage grid. This is a group of 2 or more appliances that we're going to be setting up replication of file and block storage with. In this case, I've set up a 3-node grid with 3 appliances. This is video demo 123, 124, and 125. From here, we can go and provision the shares and volumes that we'll be using to replicate across the grid from, in this case, appliance 123 over to appliance 125. So the pools that we have set up are pool A, B, and C. This one's on appliance 123, this one's on 124 and 125 respectively. And so we need to provision some file and block storage first. And in this example, we're going to replicate the data from pool A to pool C. So let's start by provisioning some file storage. To do that, we're going to go to the Network Share tab, and then we can right-click here or here. We can also go to the toolbar to create a share. So we'll go there and create our first share. So we're going to call this Share 1. Shares are accessible via NFS and SMB. We're just going to use the defaults in this case to go and provide public NFS and SMB access. Click OK. And this will go and provision the share. You can see in the tab at the bottom as it runs to go do the provisioning, it was provisioned on this appliance and it was provisioned out of pool A. We're going to create another share just to show that we can replicate multiple things here at the same time. We're going to create share 2 again, also on pool A. And we're going to replicate these shares from pool A to pool C, which is on the other appliance, video demo 125. So to set up remote replication, it's a 2-step process. First, you go to the tab at the top for remote replication, and we need to create a link between those 2 appliances. So between 123, where our shares are at, we're going to go and link that to 125. We're going to have encryption and compression enabled, and we're going to limit the bandwidth to 100 megabytes per second. This is really useful if you've got a wide area network link where you need to limit the bandwidth for remote replication so that it doesn't use up too much of that available bandwidth. You can put a description for the link here. We're just going to click OK, and this is going to do a key exchange between the 2 appliances so that we can do remote replication. So with this link, it's bidirectional, which means that we can not only replicate data from pool A to C, we can replicate data in the reverse direction from pool C to A. And the way to do that is to set up a replication schedule. So that's our second step in setting up a remote replication, is to create a schedule. And we're going to replicate to pool C. That's the remote pool that's already selected. We're going to call this share DR schedule. And this is just indicating the flow of data is going to go from this system to that system. If the pools are highly available pools and they move from appliance to appliance, it will automatically update the schedule and replicate accordingly through the other link. So you can use a combination of HA with DR. You don't need to modify the schedules. It's all dynamic. Schedule interval, this is how often you want it to go and do the asynchronous replication. So it's all asynchronous. One of the most common ways to go and protect data is to just go set it to 5 minutes. That'd be great for like virtual machines or other workloads where you need to go and keep it very, very close to a very tight SLA. For something where maybe you only need it to run every few hours or on a nightly basis, you'd use the calendar-based schedule and say, hey, I want it to run on weekdays in the afternoon and mornings at these certain times. So we'll use an interval-based schedule here, and we'll have it run every 5 minutes. So we created 2 shares. We're going to go select these 2 shares. We chose the interval. We gave the schedule a name. And the very last thing is these long-term retention rules. This is long-term retention of snapshots. And this is really important for being able to roll back to snapshots from much further back in time. And that's useful for combating ransomware and other types of attacks where you'll need to go and access data from maybe weeks or months or perhaps even over a year back in order to recover files that have not been attacked by a given virus or malware. It's also useful just being able to recover files from that point in time. And this is how to go and make it real easy to go and set up these weeklies, monthlies, and quarterly checkpoints. The default is to have this set to retain 2 of each. You can just adjust the numbers to retain more or less. So if we want to retain 2 years worth of snapshots, this 8 quarterlies will give us the last two years with quarterly checkpoints. And we're going to click OK. And that's going to go create our remote replication schedule. It's also going to start the replication automatically. So we've set to run every 5 minutes. And so the first replication is going to kick off right away. Here we can see it's already starting that. It's running the snapshotting of the source shares that we created. And those are the 2 snapshots that were created to start the replication. It's going to then replicate that data to the other pool on the other appliance. And that'll be done here in just a minute. So here we can see that the replication's already done, and then we have to wait a few seconds here for the initial import to complete. One of the other nice things about the remote replication system in QuantaStor is the reporting. So when a replication takes place, you can go to Replication Report tab and click on the last several replications. Over time, you'll have the last 10 showing here, and it'll show you how much time elapsed for each share that was replicated. Each one took 5 seconds in this case. It was a total of 10 kilobytes transmitted. And you can see the average speed, the start time, the completed time, and all that information. This is really handy if you're seeing it taking longer during certain times of the day to replicate. That'll all be in the log. And then to replicate additional items, you can add it to the same schedule, or you can create a new schedule. And for rolling back data, that's where these links, these associations come in. A replica association represents a link between a share source and a share destination. When data is replicated within QuantaStor, the destination has this name _checkpoint on it. So if we wanted to reverse the flow and replicate data from the checkpoint back to the original share, we can just right-click on this association link and choose rollback. So here we right-click and we can choose rollback from replica, and this will let us flow the data in the reverse direction. So if you did a failover to your DR site and you want to send that data back to the primary site, this is how to go do it. One last bit on remote replication is when you have an active checkpoint because you've failed over to the DR site, what you'll see on that is this checkbox indicating that it's an active checkpoint. If that will show a little green dot on the share, and that means do not overwrite the data. Essentially, the replication schedule will stop as soon as a checkpoint is active, and it will wait until the checkpoint is no longer active before the schedule runs again. So the next time around, even though this is set to go run every 5 minutes, because that checkpoint's in use, it will block the replication and will wait until the checkpoint's no longer used. So this is really important. If you're failed over to your DR site, you don't want your data overwritten. And as soon as you access any checkpoint via NFS or SMB, you'll see that green dot appear. Remember that you've got to clear that setting in order for replication to resume. So if you were doing a test of the DR site and want the replication to resume, go here to modify share SMB access and then choose uncheck this active replica checkpoint flag, and you'll see that clear, and now replication can resume. So that's all there is to setting up remote replication. Just to recap, go to remote replication, create a link, go to schedules, create a schedule, indicate what you want to replicate, how often, and which pool you want as the destination. With QuantaStor grids, you can set up dozens of systems all linked together globally and replicate from anywhere to anywhere. You can even do multi-way replication to multiple pools from the same source, and you can do cascaded replication from appliance to appliance. Hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching.